What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today let's get started with Khamzat's cardio is not a problem according to Brendan Schaub. Throughout his career, Khamzat Chimaev has largely been viewed by fans as a fighter who comes out with a bang before beginning to look less dominant in the later rounds. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. While Chimaev proved his cardio by going 3 rounds with Gilbert Burns in 2022 and 3 rounds with Kamaru Usman in 2023, lingering questions about his cardio have remained, especially heading into his 5-round UFC 319 main event with Dricus du Plessis. According to Brendan Schaub, however, Chimaev's cardio won't be a problem come August 16th. During a recent episode of the Jackson podcast, he weighed in.
I was a fan of Khamzat and I've been on his train for a little bit, but the knock on him was the cardio, right? Which, you know, he had all those issues with his lung stuff, which is completely fixed now. And then see him in here, it's like, God, he's such a monster. But that being said, against DDP, like DDP is like Khamzat's big, right? Khamzat's big. DDP is my size. The odds makers are going to say, the first round, of course, if Khamzat wins, and if it ends before 2 rounds, it's Khamzat all day. I would extend that after seeing this to even the first 3 rounds. 4 and 5 is what I want to see. I want to see Khamzat in the 4th and 5th. And if Khamzat's lighting his up, because DDP is going to be tough to finish. So if Khamzat's in the 4th and 5th finish him, then you got one. We got a real one.
Based on the latest betting odds, it appears that fans believe if Chimaev gets the win, it'll be early in the fight, with bettors backing DDP in the event that the bout goes to a decision. Paddy Pimblett can't wait to retire so he can eat. It's no secret that Paddy Pimblett winds up cutting a considerable amount of weight to get to the lightweight non-title fight limit of 156 pounds. Although he appears to be putting more effort into keeping his weight down between fights lately, the baddie still winds up cutting a significant amount of weight once training camp does start. As he explained during a recent video for his YouTube channel, he can't wait until the day comes that he can eat freely without having to worry about weighing in.
I look forward to the day where I don't have to diet, don't have to think about getting on a set of scales and having a fight with a set of scales.
And how big are you gonna get?
I don't know.
If you don't have to get down.
I'll be walking around at light heavyweight at least.
While fans have continued to speculate on Pimblett's next fight, Dan Hooker believes that the UFC could wind up booking Paddy the Baddie to fight Ilia Topuria, despite the fact that Pimblett's currently ranked number 9 at 155. During an appearance on Sky Sports, he shared his prediction. They might actually do Paddy versus Ilia, which is an absolute piss take, but who cares? At the end of the day, he's not going to hold the belt for very long. Logically, Ilia should be fighting Arman, but he won't, as Arman is a really tough fighter. If you're sitting with the title and getting paid the pay-per-view points, and you've got to fight Arman, Gagey, or Paddy, if you're smart, you take Paddy. You're going to get the most money and the worst fighter. So it's like a win-win situation for Ilia Topuria. Of course, if Pimblett winds up getting the next crack at the title, it could spell retirement for Justin Gagey. Oscar De La Hoya slams TKO and UFC for changes to Ali Act. The UFC and MMA as a whole are exempt from the Ali Act, aimed at protecting the rights of boxers. Through the Ali Act, boxers are protected from exploitative contracts, while promotions are prevented from creating a monopoly. For years, there have been calls for an expansion of the Ali Act so that MMA as a whole is covered by the Act. However, instead, the UFC and TKO are now requesting an amendment change that will strip away the protection of fighters covered under the Act. Oscar De La Hoya is not happy with the proposed changes. During a recent edition of his Clapback Thursdays video series on Instagram, De La Hoya warned boxers about the proposed changes, letting them know that their rights are under attack.
So it was reported last week that the TKO group is attempting to amend the Muhammad Ali Act, and the writing is on the wall. Fighters beware. The Ali Act was put into place back in 2000 to protect fighters by assuring them financial transparency, contract fairness, protecting them from other conflicts of interest, etc., etc. AKA, it protects fighters from being taken advantage of. Now, of course, as TKO prepares to enter the boxing space, the first thing they want to do is change this act and leave fighters vulnerable. TKO needs this to change so they can implement the exact same unethical business tactics in boxing that they used to create a monopoly with the UFC. Think about this. The UFC was sued by their own fighters for this unethical. Their own fighters sued them over this. And after all that, they're coming to another sport and trying to do the exact same thing. So to make things easy to understand, this new league, TKO, is planning on paying fighters whatever they want, which will likely be pennies on the dollar based on the existing UFC model. The same model that leaves their fighters in broken bodies and empty bank accounts. This is exactly my point. They don't give a about boxing or fighters or putting their lives on the line. They care about their bottom line and their stock price. The Ali Act is there for a good reason. I've been a promoter, for 24 years now, and I've never wanted one change in the Ali Act because I'm about fairness and helping fighters. The fact that this is the first move they want to make in boxing tells you everything you need to know.
Thank you.
TKO will lie and tell you it's better for everyone this way and distract you by saying they were changing boxing and trying to unify it. They're doing the opposite. They're just pigs with lipstick. There is zero reason to want to change the Muhammad Ali Act whatsoever. And this is a huge red flag to the entire boxing community. TKO remains TK no. And remember, folks, you're never a hater if you only speak the fact.
Currently, attorney Eric McGracken, who has become a well-known figure within the combat sports community, has a petition going around online with the goal of stopping TKO's changes and expanding the Ali Act. Whether TKO's lobbying winds up paying off, only time will tell. UFC updates. Heading into this weekend's card at the Apex, let's take a look at today's UFC updates, starting with a new addition to the UFC Paris card on September 6. According to Bulgarian top team, Benoit Saint-Denis and Mauricio Hufi are set to throw down on the card, with Saint-Denis looking to build on a win over Kyle Prepelic, and Hufi looking to build on a 3-fight win streak that's seen him go undefeated inside the octagon. Next up, we got a new addition to the UFC Perth card, set for September 27th, as Tom Nolan gets set to fight Evan Elder. Both fighters will be riding a 3-fight winning streak into the bout, with Nolan's most recent win coming in February, and Elder coming off a win in April. Next up, we have a new addition to the UFC 320 card, set for October 4th, with Farid Basharat set to fight Chris Gutierrez. Basharat is riding an impressive 4-fight win streak into the bout that's seen him go undefeated inside the octagon, while on the flip side, Gutierrez enters the fight on a 2-fight win streak. The UFC has also confirmed the UFC Fight Night Rio de Janeiro card set for October 11th, which will host a fight between Irina Alexieva and jiu-jitsu legend Bia Mesquita, who is a 10-time jiu-jitsu world champ and an ADCC gold medalist who more recently won the LFA bantamweight title after making the jump to MMA. Renato Moicano talks about RDR versus Robert Whittaker decision. This past weekend, Reinier de Ridder edged out a split decision win over Robert Whittaker, forcing the former champion out of the top 5 for the first time in over 5 years. While plenty of fans and members of the MMA community agreed with the decision, others, like Whittaker, felt as though the bout should have been scored in his favor. During the latest episode of Renato Moicano's Show Me the Money podcast, the fan favorite weighed in, saying that he felt as though the decision was fair.
To me, it was not a hard fight to judge. I think it was an easy fight to score.
I thought it was very clear 3-2.
Yeah, but I agree with that because the 2 rounds that Robbie won, he dominated. But it wasn't enough to be a 10-8. So I think it was 2 rounds 10-9 to Rob and 3 rounds 10-9 to the Ridder, and the Ridder won. And I told Moicano, like, bro, the guy has very good jiu-jitsu, very tricky with the clinch, with the takedowns. He has a chin, not the best striking, not like a beautiful Adesanya Topuria striking movement.
Yeah.
But the guy,
let's be honest. He just have the knee. The knee is very good.
Yes.
The timing on the knee is perfect, bro.
And then the one time Robert Whittaker caught him with the overhand when he timed that knee, that was perfect. But other than that, he's perfect with that.
The guy can take, and the guy took a lot of punishment, bro. That's different. The guy can take a lot. So, yeah, we got to give it up to Reinier de Ridder.
While Whittaker initially disagreed with the decision, in a follow-up video released via Instagram, he gave RDR his props for executing his game plan well, saying that he plans to dissect the loss with his team and get right back on the horse. Dominick Reyes believes he won the first 3 rounds in Jon Jones' fight. Back in 2020, Jon Jones and Dominick Reyes fought to a decision, with Jones retaining the light heavyweight title in a closely contested affair. While Jones won a unanimous decision, Reyes still feels as though he should have been awarded the win. During a recent appearance on Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo's Pound for Pound show, Reyes reflected on the bout.
Analyzing this fight, what rounds do you believe that you won?
All 3, first 3, easily.
First 3.
He had nothing for me. He might have landed 2 punches in all 3 of those rounds.
Did you watch it?
I mean, we all watched it.
4 and 5.
It is very
He
interesting.
took me down 4 and
Yeah.
5.
I think-
but I got up in 1.5 seconds. Like now that counts as nothing. He took me down, wasted energy. I got up and then elbowed him.
Reyes also revealed the secret to combating Jones's infamous eye pokes, citing a strategy that he learned from Ovince St. Preux, where he would throw hammer fists at Jones's hands as soon as the former pound-for-pound king began to stick his fingers out. As he also explained, the secret to fighting Jones is preventing him from dictating the pace of the fight. If he wants to stand there, attack him. If he wants to attack you, move. He wants to grapple, break the grapple. If he wants to strike, kick him. He's a genius fighter, so good at making you fight his fight. With a win over Carlos Ulberg, Reyes could wind up back in title talks. Dana White releases fighter from the UFC and receives backlash. Following his win over Marcus Buchecha on Saturday, which made it 3 straight for Martin Buday, the UFC opted not to re-sign the Dana White's Contender Series alum. Instead, despite a 3-fight win streak and a 7-1 record with the UFC, Buday is now a free agent. According to MMA Fighting's Mike Heck and Guillaume Cruz, the UFC has parted ways with Martin Buday following Buday's UFC Abu Dhabi win over Marcus Buchecha. Multiple sources tell Guy Cruz and I. Buday fought out his deal and the UFC elected not to re-sign the ranked heavyweight. Buday then confirmed the news, writing, "Yeah, it's true. Yesterday we got a call that UFC is not re-signing us for the moment. Well, it is what it is. At least I'm leaving with my head up. Thank you." The news caused an uproar among the MMA community. Dana White, we need heavyweights. Okay, let's not renew the contract for Buday, who is 7-1 with the company. But we have heavyweights on our roster who are 1-6, 1-4, and 8-8. Former UFC fighter Zach Pauga added, "I don't even have a comment on this. What is the UFC's plan for heavyweight if we're cutting well-known names like Rosenstruik as well as winning unranked fighters like Buday?" Plenty of fans also disagreed. Meanwhile, 350-pound Shui Man on a 5-fight losing streak is still on the roster. The heavyweight division lack of depth isn't helped by the UFC cutting gatekeepers like Rosenstruik, Romanov, and Buday. A number of fans also weighed in on the state of the heavyweight division. What the cutting a 7-1 fighter in the thinnest division of them all? The heavyweight division is horrible, genuinely zero hype or interest. Makes no sense at all in such a shallow division. You'd think they would cut as little heavyweights as possible to increase the division's depth. What am I missing? As much as their heavyweight division is lacking depth, why cut a 71 fighter? What did he do to piss off Dana, Mick, or Sean? Buday was never going to be a true contender, but the UFC heavyweight division is way too shallow to be letting guys like this walk. I said the same thing about Jairzinho Rozenstruik, and guys like Talison Teixeira wins one UFC fight and gets ranked at heavyweight. A few fans called out Dana White and Sean Shelby directly. This is a ridiculous move to make, Dana White, Sean Shelby, 7-1 ranked contender removed from roster after a dominant performance over some guy they were hoping to propel forward. Dana White is destroying the UFC. He's more interested in side quests like UFC BJJ that nobody cares about. Another pointed out that this isn't the first time the UFC has released a talented heavyweight. Jairzinho, Romanov, and now Buday, they just cut and let go heavyweights that can actually win, but keep guys like Tai Tuivasa, who hasn't won a fight in 3 years. Some fans, however, agreed with the move, citing Buday's fighting style. Dude, watch his fights, they all suck, only has one knockdown as a heavyweight. LMAO, that's pathetic. Why pay a boring fighter that literally have zero chance of winning the belt? One pointed out the hypocrisy of fans. To be fair, 90% of the fan base will complain about this, but 99% of the same base complains when a guy like him is on a card, LOL. As we've seen in the past, there is a chance that Buday gets re-signed in the future despite the situation. We have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day.